Well, hello, this is Kimberly Brock, and for over 20 years, I've been running my own businesses that have not only been profitable, but personally fulfilling to me. So now I'm on a mission to help other new business owners, just like you, make money doing what you love too. Now we're going to have some fun, so let's get started. Well, hello, friends. This is Kimberly. It's episode 280, and I am so glad you are here today. I'm super excited. I'm going to share with you the 4 ways that you can use podcasting in your business to grow your business, to make more impact, and to generate more sales. This is going to be so much fun. I've used podcasting in all of the 4 ways that I'm going to talk about today. So I've got personal experience with all of them. And I just think, podcasting is awesome. And I think you can get creative about ways to incorporate it into your business. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad that you found this podcast. I have no doubt it's going to help you along your business journey, whether you're in the idea stage, starting or growing, this is for you. And whether you're thinking about starting a podcast or already have a podcast, this is for you. All of these tips apply to you because they are important. You're trying to grow your business. You're trying to make a difference, do something meaningful, right? And I believe that the combo of a business and a podcast is a slam dunk, and I love it. So glad you're here. Scroll down in the show notes again. If you're new, I've got all kinds of free goodies for you, a 16-step checklist if you're starting your business, and then a free workshop if you're starting a podcast. So make sure you look down to see what I have right now available to you. Okay. Again, scroll down in the little show notes. You can do that. And if you've been listening a while, thank you so much to all my loyal listeners. Y'all are awesome and wonderful. And I'm just so honored to be a part of your journey. I can't tell you how much it means to me. Today, I wanted to read a review because these make my heart smile so big when I get them. And here is one from That Golf Fan. And it says, when I tune into Kimberly's messages, it makes me feel as though I'm enjoying coffee with her at home. She radiates positivity and has been the uplifting and encouraging voice I so often need to hear. She is genuine. She's motivating. Give her a listen. You won't regret it. I joined Grow Getters, and it has been one of the best business decisions I have made. She has been the best tour guide for this new journey. Thank you, Kimberly, for being you. This is so wonderful. Okay, which Grow Getter was this? I don't know who you are, That Golf Fan. Who plays golf? I need to start. It's like the Clue mystery game. I got to figure it out. This is so sweet. Thank you so much for this message. It means the world to me. And if you've been listening a while, like That Golf Fan, if you've been listening, and you've never given this a 5-star rating, would you be so kind to give this podcast 5 stars? Like if you're an Apple podcast, you just hit 5 stars. And if you have a minute to write a review, see what this does for me. It makes me blush. It makes me so happy and it makes me feel so good. So if you have that time to write a written review, it would be awesome, awesome, awesome. So that is it. Okay, on to the episode. Well, hello, friends. How are you? How is everything going in your business? I am just so excited for you and for this year. I'm really seeing a shift where many of you are getting so focused on your business. You really are. You're focused on simplifying things and, trimming the fat, getting the things out of the way that are stressing you out, that are taking you too much time, and that aren't selling. I mean, I can relate. I've been having to shift things in my business as well and focus on what is selling. What is selling? Because whatever's selling is telling you where the demand is, right? For me, I've seen demand go from just people wanting help growing their business to now people getting really focused on one certain method. And many are coming to me for podcasting because y'all want to use that as a way to create impact and grow your business, right? Because this podcast has meant so much to you. And I get it. And so we have to make hard decisions in our business where we focus on where is the money coming from? What do people really need? What is the market demanding, right? Things change all the time. Y'all, business is changing all the time. So I just hope you're thinking about that. I can't stress this enough. To just keep telling you, streamline your business and offer more of what's selling and what people are needing help with right now. So make sure you're doing that. That's my little pep talk on that. But today we're talking about podcasting, lo and behold, of course. We are talking about the 4 ways that you could use podcasting in your business. Now, I'm not going to go in great detail on each of these because if I did, we'd be here for hours and hours, right? But I'm going to give you the overview. So if maybe you're the person that already has a podcast, okay, this will still work for you, right? This is going to be great information. If you're thinking about starting a podcast, this is great information for you, okay? Or if you haven't even thought about starting a podcast, this may trigger something in your brain, okay, today for your business. And I'm super excited to share it with you. So, we're going to go through the 4 ways that you can use podcasting in your business to grow it and to create more impact, right? To help more people, to teach them more things. And it's really fun. I mean, there are some fun ways that y'all can use podcasting. Super cool. Okay. So, let's go into it. So, number one, y'all know the obvious way that you can have a free podcast like this one that you are listening to now, right? This is a free podcast. And you hear me every week. You know that I show up. I've been showing up for 5 years and I show up every single week, giving you tips, sharing things that are relevant to today, right? Maybe I shared tips and stories from my past, things that I've learned, my knowledge, clients that I'm working with right now. You can do the same thing. You can start a free podcast, right? And what I mean by free is that your people are not paying for it. Your listeners are not paying for it. Now, y'all know I have a group program that I'm about to launch a beta because I'm trying to create a streamlined course for y'all to help you create your podcast. And I'm teaching you everything that I've been doing to build a top 1% globally ranked podcast, right? I'm sharing it all with you. I'm pulling back the curtains, right? So I'm about to create that course, but I need your help. If this is you, just real quick plug for the Pod Squad. Yes, it's called the Pod Squad. Isn't that cute? It's my beta program because what I'm trying to do is build out a really good, solid, streamlined course to help you launch your podcast and get it out into the world and use it to create more impact and grow your business, right? And I'm going to pull back the curtains on everything that I've been doing for the past 5 years to create a top 1% globally ranked podcast starting from zero in less than 2 hours a week, right? So if you're interested in that, make sure you scroll down in the show notes and get on the wait list for the beta program because I'd love for you to be a part of it and I would love to be coaching you. I'll be doing live coaching to be helping all of you, right? So it's a win-win for both of us. So I can build out the course and you can get your awesome, awesome top 1% globally ranked podcast launch yourself. So I'm so excited. But anyways, you can do a free podcast like this one, and it's a great way to reach people worldwide while you're sleeping. I think it's hands down the best way if you're creating long form content like YouTube videos, if you are wanting to blog, if you're wanting to be on social media and doing videos and things. I think podcasting is the most time effective and cost effective, right? Especially if you have a full-time job. I think it's the most time effective, cost effective. Again, less than 2 hours a week. You can start with zero fans, zero everything like I did. And I can tell you exactly what I did to get where I am. Okay. And it didn't take me that long to get where I am. I've been at the top 1%. There's probably more I could do to get even higher, but I'm living the life that I love, right? And I think we have to put boundaries on ourselves. So that's a whole nother podcast episode, right? Anyways, you can create a free public podcast. Number one, you know this and it's amazing and it may be the best thing you ever do for your business. So that's number one. Number two, you can create a free private podcast. So instead of it being public where everyone can just click in Apple Podcasts or Spotify and listen, you have a private one that you use sort of as a lead magnet. If you heard the term lead magnet, it just means you offer something for free and people give you their email address in return. So you could have some cool tips, some lessons you teach them, anything fun. And it's a private podcast. And all they do is enter their email, they'll get a link and you can listen to it. Now, I have this training in my Pod Squad training. It was in the Bingeworthy boot camp that I did live a while back too. And now this one, I will have it in there as well. How to create a free private podcast. So maybe you don't want to commit to a full-on podcast every week. You could create a private one that's gated with their email address. And now you have people on your email list and you're giving them information. So if it's information that they want, it's great. Like I've had my 5 steps to consistent sales. I've had that private podcast and people would sign up and they would get it and listen to it, had them on my email list and they're part of my circle because obviously they don't want to be on, they don't want to be listening to that podcast if they're not interested in growing their business. So it was perfect because it was the people that were perfect for me, right? And then some of those people will move on to become either coaching clients or in one of my group programs, right? So a free private podcast. And you do that through apps, which again, I will talk all about this later, like if you're in my program, if you're in my beta program. But it's something that you do that and they would load up on their podcast app into Apple Podcasts or Spotify and they'd have it. And you can teach them. Maybe it's 5 episodes, maybe it's 10 episodes, something like that. You can record it all over a day. I recorded mine in one day and uploaded it. It's a great lead magnet. Okay. So think about that. A free private podcast. You can do that. Okay. Number 3, you can do a podcast that's inside one of your programs. So I've always done this. So what I mean is like I have my Just Getting Started boot camp. And before that, it was called Just Start. And then I had my Just Getting Started boot camp because I did it live. And then I have Grow Getters and I have a private podcast inside my paid program. So your paid members of a membership or a program or a course could get a private podcast that is just for them. And I've done that too. And it's awesome. There's so many fun ways that you can use a podcast. How awesome is this? So again, it's a perk for people that are in your circle. So think about it right now. There's a lot of creative ways. And again, if you are one of my coaching clients, let's talk about it. Let's sort through your options for your business, what time you have, and what would be good for your people. Maybe it's a free private podcast. Maybe it's one that's paywalled behind your programs, courses, memberships, etc., which can be really, really cool. Okay, so again, let's go through and then I'll go to the 4th one. Number 1 is a free public podcast, okay, that everyone can hear while you sleep. You're going to get leads, right? Because people can then sign up for your lead magnet, your printable checklist, for a free consult, send them to your YouTube channel. You can do all these things that really work for your business. And again, everyone's business is different. So that's why I like to look at each of yours personally, because that matters. You shouldn't be following a template that everyone else is following. You should be adapting it to your business. Okay, number 1, free public podcast. Number 2, a free private podcast where they enter their email and they get access to a podcast that has a limited number of episodes and it uploads on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, etc. Okay. Number 3, it can be inside a paid program, course, membership, whatever it is. You give this to them. Okay. And they get access to it. But again, it's just for the people that are a part of your programs. Okay. And number 4, you can have a paid subscription version of your podcast. Now, y'all know that I did this. I've been doing this for the past couple months and I did it the easy way through Apple Podcasts. So sorry to Spotify listeners, or if you're in Overcast or some other app, I wanted to test this and see, do I like it? Do people listen to it? Because those are key, y'all. Okay. So yes, I offered it here, let me clarify. Okay. So when I started the paid version of the podcast, did it through Apple, you get a free 3-day trial. And then it's $2.99 per month for y'all to get access. And new episodes would launch each week. So not only did people have my free versions of the podcast, right? Each week, y'all know on Thursdays, I had a free episode. And then I would do the paid version coming out on Mondays or Tuesdays. Usually it was Mondays. Every now and then I was late and it was on Tuesdays. But I was doing more in-depth conversations about that week's episode. Okay. So I was diving deeper and that was great. But then I thought this would be fun if I actually had coaching calls on here and then people could hear me coaching clients. So what I did was, and you could do anything you wanted, but this is just what I did. I offered a free 15 to 30-minute coaching session with people on Zoom who wanted to sign up. I had them apply first. And then once I approved them, they signed up. I did the free coaching call for 15 to 30 minutes, but in lieu of them having to pay for the coaching call, I would simply say, are we okay? And they knew this ahead of time to air this live. And if I needed to bleep out names or anything like that, I was able to do that. But if we're able to air it live, that would be great. It'll be on the premium version of my podcast. So it's only for people who pay the $2.99 a month are going to get access. Okay. And so that's what I did. And it was a total blast. I loved coaching y'all. Some of y'all I had never met before. Y'all knew people. Some people had been in my group program. Some people had been coaching clients. So I had a whole mix and it was awesome. And I loved it. Okay. And so what I'm doing with mine, so alert, heads up, if you're one of the subscribers right now, I'm actually ending it. And you're like, what? You're ending it? It was doing well? Yes. You know why? Because for me, I see the premium version of this podcast being one that's like a pop-up show. where every now and then maybe I do that. And then I'm not glued to it all year round. It's not something I have to keep, worrying about because it does take time. So this is the one that takes the most time because you're adding an episode every week, right? You're adding on and it's a whole nother episode I have to worry about and all that stuff. So to me, it, has taken more time, but it's been awesome. And it's been cool to get the extra revenue. I had very high retention rates, like very high. I'm going to need to go back and work through Apple Podcasts to look at it. It's a little confusing on some of the data that they have, but it looked like it was like 90%. And then people who converted from the free trial to the thing was around the same. So that's awesome, right? So that's a good thing. People were enjoying it once they got in. And I'm like, this is super fun, but it is a lot of extra work. And I'm trying to build out this podcasting program. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to use this paid version of my podcast as a pop-up version. Like if I want to do it again in 3 or 4 months, 6 months, people can sign up again, right? And y'all aren't glued to it all year round either, and y'all don't have to worry about it. So I loved the paid version. You probably have seen other versions if you listen to true crime or anything like that. You've heard, well, they'll have a no ad version of their podcast. So that's another thing you could do. If you have a podcast that you run ads on, you could also have a paid version of the podcast that has no ads. To me, that's the easiest way to go. That would be the number one easiest. I did the second easiest, which was through Apple Podcasts. And I did have to upload those episodes each week, but it was still an Apple Podcast. I would do Apple Podcasts and then do an ad-free version because that would be super easy. So what you'd have to do is you'd have your hosting provider that you'd upload your episode to each week. And then you would also upload it in Apple Podcasts without, the same episode again, and then no ads would be put on them on the Apple Podcast version when they subscribe to the premium version. Does that make sense? It's probably really confusing. But there's several different ways you can do paid subscriptions for your podcast. And to me, no one is talking about this, that you could just do a pop-up version in Apple Podcasts of your premium podcast. Like, I loved it. This was so much fun. And if I had more time, I would keep doing it and keep building out my pod squad. I can't do it all, y'all, because I have decided I have boundaries in my life on how much time I can spend on this business. And so you have to make hard decisions. But this wasn't that hard of a decision. This was super fun. It was temporary. And now I may do it again later. Okay. So those are the 4 ways that you can use podcasting in your business. Free public, number 1. Number 2, a free private. Number 3, inside a program, coaching, consulting, membership, etc. course. Or number 4, as a paid subscription. So there's so many clever ways. Again, reach out to me and let's have a coaching call. If you're trying to figure out how to integrate or incorporate a podcast into your business, you're not sure if you want to do the free public one every week, maybe you want to do something else, let's talk about it. And I'll give you the pros and cons and give you my honest opinion on what you should do based on the time you have and the type of business that you have. Okay? Because that matters. That matters on what you're going to do. Type of business that you have and what you're going to offer, as I would love to help you. So reach out. I do one-on-one coaching or get in the Pod Squad beta because it's going to be the lowest price and I'm going to be giving you so much personal attention to help you with your podcasting. So that's it. Y'all are amazing. Have a wonderful day. And until next time, bye now.
Now, this episode may be over, but our relationship does not have to end here. Head on over to KimberlyBrock.com. And yes, you can get more valuable information for your journey. And you know what? You don't need to go through this alone. I would love to help you. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye.